Hi, I'm Brian Trenchard-Smith. This is Trailers from Hell, and we're going to talk about Revolt of the Slaves. Growing up in England in the late 50s, early 60s, I loved epic spectaculars. As far as I was concerned, Hollywood could not make enough of them. Luckily, enterprising Italian producers filled the gap with dozens of low-budget sword-and-sandal movies. Several great Italian directors got their start in this genre, including Sergio Leone and Mario Bava. The scripts pillaged Greek mythology and ancient Rome. The dubbed English dialogue was often hilarious.
Killing Goliath is much faster and surer. He's a menace to us all.
I want him alive. His magnificent body can serve as a model for the army of slaves with which I shall conquer the earth. The army of indomitable giants subservient to my will. Why are you looking at me like that?
Priceless. But there were brawny heroes, beautiful women, and clashing steel, even though sometimes the battle scenes were little better than a confused rattling of cutlery. If Spartacus was a gourmet banquet, these movies were fast food for epic addicts. My favorites were gladiator movies, of which Revolt of the Slaves was an above-average example. For a 16-year-old, the good thing about Christian-themed epics was that the British censor allowed way more violence than in a contemporary subject. The poor fellow who slips out of these manacles soon gets his hands cut off, which would diminish the effectiveness of a slave, I would have thought. Slaves were expensive. But historical authenticity be damned, we went to these movies to see mayhem. In fact, the Diocletian persecution of Christianity at the beginning of the 4th century AD was extremely brutal, and director Nunzio Mallasoma depicts it with relish. Revolt of the Slaves is based on Cardinal Wiseman's book Fabiola, filmed 7 years earlier in black and white, now given a bigger budget than usual for Italian sword and sandal. And a Hollywood star, Rhonda Fleming. She was in Hitchcock's Spellbound and a string of popular movies in the 50s, but by now her career had peaked. And like a number of Hollywood actors at that time, found a well-paid gig in Italy irresistible. She brought her new husband to co-star with her, Lang Jeffries, 7 years her junior, co-lead in 3 seasons of Rescue 8, which had just been cancelled. Some factoids for uber geeks. There is a scene where Fleming's character orders him flogged across his bare chest. So well staged, in fact, it was ranked number 2 in the book Lash, the 100 Great Scenes of Men Being Whipped in the Movies. I must get that for my wife. Jeffries was whipped again in Alone Against Rome, this time on his bare back, making him perhaps the only actor in screen history to be whipped on both sides of his torso. Such screen chemistry as the newlyweds had was extinguished by the leaden dubbed dialogue. Curiously, the work of Daniel Mainwaring, who wrote the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The marriage lasted less than 2 years, but Lang Jeffries went on to star in more than 20 Euro movies, particularly spy movies.